do not want to do this video, but I know that I need to help some of you out there. I'm going to tell you about my journey from red pill to Christianity and how turning to Christianity and returning to faith has been the actual thing that has turned me into a man and given me masculine principles, true masculine principles that pull me closer to God and turn me into the person that I need to be. But first and foremost, let's go over what red pill is, right? There could be women watching this, there could be men that are on a similar path that I was and may not know what path they're actually on to begin with. And that really is a danger of it, because when you don't really have your own principles and have your own relationship with God, you'll be pulled from pillar to post, and the world and sort of red pill principles will tell you what you need to do, tell you how you need to think, and it takes away your ability to be individual. It takes away your one thing that God created you to be, which we are created in His image, right? So red pill in and of itself, it's a term that was taken from the Matrix, and it's this general understanding that creates this bitter resentment to the modern day world, and that you need to put fleshly desires above the spirit, above God, and generally put things into your heart that God does not want us to put into our heart. So my journey with red pill was following people like Andrew Tate, you got your Fresh and Fit podcast, all these different people. Think about these, you go on social media and you know exactly what I'm talking about. And these principles that they generally push onto us are, your worth as a man is dependent on the things that you can give. It's purely dependent on the materialistic. The things that we want as men are fast cars, lots of women, disposable income, money, wealth, riches. It is all we care about, and we will stop at nothing to get these things. And what happens is, the way that you're able to continue to push these things is your resentment to the modern day world, your resentment to women, this idea that these people only want you for your money, the idea that the world is against you, and you've almost got to have eyes in the back of your head, and you're always thinking somebody's out to get you. The world wants to screw you over. The world wants to take your money, and you've sort of got like the matrix of like a slave mind, and then you've got to break free from the matrix. And these principles basically warped my mind. They controlled how I thought, they controlled how I taught, they controlled how I acted, and again, it warped my perspective of the world and what it wanted for me. So the first thing I'm going to open with is being humble, right? This idea of red pill is that it made me think I was more important than what I was actually, right? I'm not a millionaire now, and I certainly wasn't a millionaire when I was in this sort of like red pill phase, right? But yet I was walking around thinking that the world wanted to screw me over. The economy was built in a way that me and my little, 20, 30k a year, whatever I was on, however many thousands I was making a month, was that it was there to take it away from me. It made me think, it boosted my ego. It made my ego sky high, and in the most worst way possible, because I was walking around thinking the world wants to tax me loads, and people only want me for my money, and as soon as I stop producing, as soon as I stop working, then I'm worthless. I have nothing. It's such a, you need to humble yourself, and I need to tell you that you are not as important as you think you are. And don't get me wrong, we're God's creation, so of course we all matter, but in this red pill framework, the world is not built in a way so that you are so much important that your little couple of thousands a year, the world is built to work against people like you. It makes no sense. You are not that important. You need to humble yourself. And I know that sounds harsh, but it's something that I had to come to the reality in terms of as well. Now, this video as well, whilst I've still got your attention, this isn't one of those gay videos where like I've gone from red pill and now I'm like a little humble, emotional man. Absolutely not at all. I do think that there is a time and a place for these things. There is a lot of men where they have weak principles. They're trying to escape from performance issues, procrastination, and they're trying to escape from what's required and what needs to be done and just simply being a man. And yet they're able to take a shield over things like depression, anxiety, saying that, oh, I don't feel like it today. I'm just going to stay in bed all day because I'm feeling depressed. I'm not really up to it. As a man, you have things to do. You need to be the provider. You need to do what is right in the world. God needs you to be a strong man. You need yourself to be a strong man. And the world needs you to be a strong man. Because without strong men, everything just erupts into chaos, which we're literally in the midst of now. You've got that saying of, what is it now? So, good times create weak men create hard times will eventually create strong men. And we're in this period now of, we've got very weak men, and it's going to create harder times. So everything that I'm telling you now, the battle's not over. There's still going to be a lot of hard times, and through going through these hard times, through not actually pussying out, you will eventually become a good man. And this is what the world needs. It needs us to go through these trials and tribulations and show us what's right. We need good principles. We need people that are closer with God. We need God-fearing men, because again, to quote Proverbs, wisdom comes from the fear of the Lord. You need to fear the Lord, and that means doing the right thing even when you don't want to do it. it means when you're about to make that fleshly desire of, maybe perhaps cheating, or maybe perhaps putting money above God, you need to be petrified of God. You need to have a fear of God and know that that is going to displease him. And when it comes to Judgment Day, he will remember it, and he will know it, and he'll know that you made that decision to not hold God within your heart. So again, just going into my journey with Red Pill, right? So I would generally follow people like Andrew Tate. What do we have? We have like Fresh and Fit podcast. There were loads of these different characters. We had all these different like networks. So whatever Andrew Tate would post and all these friends, I would follow those as well. And in and of this time, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was very lost in my purpose. I had a business, and don't get me wrong, I was making money and stuff like that, but there was always something that was missing. And I had all these different like gaps in my character as a man, and I thought that these people were the answer to it. So whatever they would do, whatever they would say, I would basically adopt as myself. And I really have to say this, that I don't want to say this, but there was a time when somebody asked my opinion on Andrew Tate, and I have no idea why I said it. I still regret it, but I said Andrew Tate is a god amongst men. That is not okay to say, ever, absolutely. What I was doing was I was glorifying these people where I was putting them on a pedestal, and I was having these role models, and I don't agree with having role models whatsoever. The only role model that you should have is Jesus. He was the ultimate role model. He's the ultimate big brother. He's the ultimate superhero that we should ever look up to, right? In terms of humans, it is absolutely fair game. We were all made in God's creation. There is not a single human on this planet that is better than you are. So you should never, ever, ever put people on a pedestal. And yet what I was doing was I was putting these people above me, and I was almost looking up to them. And it wasn't in a sense I was like worshipping them or glorifying them, but I was like, well, he's successful and he has lots of money and lots of cars, and he seems to do really well, so I must simply do what he does. And then it was starting to change how I would think. It was starting to change my goals, and then I would just look at what they did and I would just replicate in my own life. So I wanted all these fast cars and I wanted infinite wealth, and yet I tried to convince myself that these things were real and these things were true. But yet again, when my head hit the pillow at night, something was always missing. If someone was to ask me in 10 years time, what do you want to do and how do you want to be feeling, I'd look at these things and I'd say these things, but in my heart internally something was missing. It's like there was just something that I couldn't put my finger on. And again, this whole red pill concept was that it started to warp my beliefs, what I actually wanted from life. And what I was doing was I was living a life that wasn't my own. I was just being told what to think, being told how to act. And if I was to really like rip the band-aid off now and sort of tell you how I grew up in foster care, right? And the environment I grew up in was one that I didn't really have a voice. People often spoke for me, and it took away a lot of opportunities for me. It basically killed any courage, any confidence that I had. So not only did I grow up in an environment where I felt like I didn't have a voice, what I said wasn't valuable, I didn't really deserve a seat at the table type thing, I'd healed from it, and then I put myself back in that prison again. I'd basically built my own mental cage, and I basically started to destruct myself again, because then it wasn't the people in care now, it was now people like Tay, it was people, these social figures that were now telling me how to think, how to feel, and I didn't really actually have any original thoughts. So the thing with Red Pill is what it does is it basically like kills any originality whatsoever. You think that this is what you need to do to become a man. You think that this is what needs to happen for you to do right in the world. But yet, if you actually looked at what it is that you're saying, none of it's original. It's just regurgitated nonsense from people that, haven't lived your life. They don't know you as an individual. It just makes no sense. And again, I'm going to keep going back to this. This is not one of those gay videos where I'm trying to, I've become this like hyper emotional feminine man. Absolutely not. I do still agree with people like Tate, and these characters do have good in the world, because for the men that are lost and for the men that are trying to escape away from performance and just becoming wusses, they're just not doing what's required. People need to be told what to do. Men need to be told that they're not doing a good job and they need to be better. But this is where accountability comes into it, because what people do is, if I have a friend in my circle, right, and they're not going to the gym, they're saying all these big goals to me and they're not actually actioning it, they're just being about it, because everyone speaks a big game. If I don't go to him, or let's just say if I go to him and say, look, you need to be doing better, he can escape from accountability and say, no, it's okay, I don't need to do the things because I was having a bad day, or I was really emotional, therefore I don't need to do those things. That is wrong. That is not good. That's not what the world needs us to be. So these characters can be good, because if you can control your environment, Put it this way, you go on social media, if you create a fresh TikTok account, you're going to see lustful images without you even following anything. You're going to see these things, you're going to see these things where you want to consume it all the time, and it's going to take away from you. And what you'll find is you'll just become a sap of a man, because you're either watching lustful stuff, you're thinking that the world hates you. So certain characters can instill a mindset where you need to try harder, you need to improve your work ethic, and you do need to do better as a man. But what my advice is to you is, do not let these become the centerpiece, the console for you as a man, because that's not for them to do, it's not for you to do, it's for God to do. God is going to be the one to instill these characters and these principles. So that is red pill aside, that's my journey aside. Very embarrassing. I'm sure there's going to be some comments on that. So now let's go into Christianity and this way that it's been able to flip it over, this switch that has been flicked, and how my life has changed, and how I can confidently say that Christianity has turned me into a man, and it's given me masculine principles. So first and foremost was that I had a purpose. That was the most important part. I genuinely think that any man walking this earth, I should be able to put a thing to your head, and you just basically be able to say to me, I should be able to say to you, what is your purpose? And you should be able to say that straight away. God has given me that purpose, he's given me that answer. So to say it straight away, my purpose on this earth, my only quest, is to become an exceptional human being. I spoke about this in previous videos, but I frame my relationship with God, or at least part of it, in the sense of I'm holding up a deal. We've made a deal together, and I've got to hold up my end of the deal. God so loved the world that he gave his only son. Jesus went through so much, to the point where he went through so much that I'm never ever going to be able to repay that deal. But what it does is it constantly drives me forward, so that I'm always pushed to do the right thing, always pushed to be good, to seek wisdom, to listen to the word of the Lord. And even though it may not ever be enough, because Jesus simply went through so much, God gave us so much, at least I am dedicating my life to working with the Lord, developing a relationship with him, and being the type of man that the world needs, my fiance needs, that God needs me to be, right? So it's given me a purpose. The next thing is going to be actual principles. So if we actually look at what is a man, what is a biblical masculine man, I think a lot of this has to do with labour, right? Now, I've always been a hard worker. I've always loved work, but my relationship and my perspective of work has certainly changed. I used to work as a way to cope from the trauma and the negative stuff that I'd been through as a kid growing up. So I used all of that negative stuff, that pain, that hurt, that heartbreak. I was like, right, I'm just going to weaponize it. I'm just going to work until I can't work no more, right? But now what I've been able to do is flip that over. I'm still a super hard worker, but I work hard now to become the man that I need to be, to work hard with what I want to do in this world, what my vision needs to be. So I work hard so that I can provide for better people. I'm working hard where I want to make sure that nobody in my life ever has to work again. I'm working hard so that, my personal goal is that I want to really do a lot of work within my church. I'm doing this channel because I want thousands and thousands of subscribers where I can influence people to come towards God. I want to speak within the church. I want to be able to fund my church where it doesn't have to rely on events and stalls and non-biblical stuff. I want to be able to I can pay for all of this to just exist. These are the type of things that I want to do. I want to work hard so that I can give people jobs and create a community where it's God at the center of it. These are the things that now my work ethic is pushing me to do. So it's giving me actual principles. The next one is fleshly desires and spirit desires. Fleshly desires are things like fast cars, watches, all of these things in consumption. And again, I'm going to keep referring back to this. It's okay to want these things. It absolutely is okay to it. The fruits of your labour. But what I'm trying to say is you should not put these things in your heart. God is the only thing that should be in the centre of your heart. As long as God is in your heart and you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you, these other things are just small little, they're milestones, right? So if you work really hard, you do your first 10k a month or whatever, and maybe you get a watch, that's fine. But as long as you don't glorify that materialistic thing that goes above God, that's when there's going to be problems. So like my dream car, for example, I want a C63, and I'm close to getting it. I know that it's there, but at the end of the day, it's just a car. I know that when I pick it up, there's going to be a buzz, there's going to be a hype. I'm going to be very, very happy, but at the end of the day, it's still just going to be a car, right? A couple of hours will pass and I'll be over it. A day will pass, a month will pass, and I'll forget I even have the thing, right? But at the end of the day, it's God that's in my heart, and it's knowing that I'm waking up every single day doing the things that are going to please God. So setting these goals and having actual fleshly desires, these are the things you want to get on top of and learn to actually control. God has given me this ability to know what I need to be putting first and what I need to not sort of be glorifying and putting too much on a pedestal. And so these fleshly desires, it's now easier to battle these, because these are the things that you, as a Christian, it's not going to be a walk in the park. There's going to be struggles. You're still going to be going through stuff. This whole idea of me going from red pill to Christianity doesn't mean that all of a sudden God has shone a light in my life and it's just sunshine and rainbows. There's still storms. I've literally just done a video this morning where I've just, for the past 2 months, I've not been bothered to do anything whatsoever. Don't want to go to the gym. All I wanted to do was scroll. I just could not be bothered doing anything. So you're still going to struggle with these things. But this battle with the flesh now suddenly becomes easier. You've got leverage. When the devil tries to tempt you, you've got scripture on hand to be able to rebuke that devil, to be able to say, I know what it is that you're trying to do to me, but I say no. In the word of the Lord, in God's name, I say no, you're not pulling me off track this time. You've done it before, and I tell you, you're not doing it again. This is the attitude that you want to have. This is the thing that makes a man. It's understanding, this is what I'm being tempted to do right now. This is perhaps what the Western world is trying to push onto me. But I know that in the word of the Lord, and I know with God in my heart, that's not right to do. So I'm going to say no, I'm going to keep going on my journey. I'm going to keep doing the things that God wants me to do. So these fleshly desires of wanting to buy loads of cars and buy all these nice things. And don't get me wrong, I have a fiance, but I know that there's many men that want multiple women. So there's also the lust that many people, myself included, have battled with for years in the past. These are very much the fleshly desires. And I would advise you to read 1 Kings, the story of Solomon, Proverbs, where Solomon wrote Proverbs. There is so much that will help you work on your lust and understanding what God wants from you as a man, in the sense of having a family, go forth and multiply, having this creation where you can build a Christian household. These are things that God wants, right? And I would say another one as well is knowing how to manage your time, right? It's very easy to just flick the TV on and think that being idle is rest, right? So scrolling, going on Netflix, going on nights out, the world will tell you that these things are restful. The world will tell you that these things are good. It gets to Monday in the office, right? Monday morning, as it is literally Monday today. People ask you what you did on the weekend. Other people will be like, oh, I went to a festival, I drank all weekend, I'm super hungover today. Most people are going to say, good on you. That's it. That's a weekend well spent. How on earth does that make sense? There is no upside to doing these things at all. And so this idea of being still versus being idle, God will definitely instill these values in you. As a man, you are going to work hard, you're going to be tested, and we will think that as soon as we've done a little bit of work, that's it, put Netflix on, that's it, I've earned it. And being idle is the thing that equals rest, and being still, it's not whatsoever. Being still is being still with yourself, it's praying, it's, don't get me wrong, you can still watch a movie, by all means, who am I to tell you what to do, right? But it's the idea of, if these become the larger stakeholder of your time, if you've got a 100-hour work week and you're spending 60% of that scrolling, gossiping, talking bad on other people, not helping other people out, what good of a life is that to be living? It's ungodly, it's unjust, and when judgment day comes, you'll know about it. That simply is the concept. So this idea now of being still means that after you have done a hard work, after you have gone through a battle, a trial and a tribulation, learn to give thanks for it. Go out and be with nature. If you want to have a good time, go start fishing. Go play something that's going to actually mentally stimulate you. Chess, snooker, all of these different things, they're fun. You can do them with a friend. You can meet new people through it, which I have certainly done. There's life skills that you can learn. And above all, you're not really doing things that are going to pull you off track from God. Fishing. Fishing is such a biblical hobby, right? You know, becoming fishers of men. It's the one thing that Jesus' disciples were doing before they were called to follow him and join his ministry, right? So there's something that when I'm fishing, I feel really connected to God with doing, because it's almost like following in those footsteps. So but that's just a personal opinion, right? So yeah, I think we've gone off on an interesting tangent in this video, and I hope I've given you a good journey from red pill to Christianity. And all I can say is that the world is a very confusing place right now, but it doesn't have to be confusing. Being a man can be very confusing. You could be wondering what it is that you need to be pushing first, what it is that you need to be prioritizing. And I'm not the one to give you these answers. All I've done is told you my journey. But it's God that's going to give you these principles. It's God that's going to give you this newness of life. He's going to make you be born again. And this journey into being a Christian and returning to faith, these are the things that whatever you're going through, whatever problems you think you have, and whatever wounds you're trying to heal, Christianity and going towards God, running towards God if it is, these are the things that are going to heal those things. So I'll see you for the next video, and God bless.